Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host and the noob. My name is Caliban, more like Poutfit. Please keep listening.
And we're a couple of magical people ready to Moon Crisis make up this episode. Today we are talking about episode number 140, Mini ga Daisuki, Oshare na Senshitachi in Japanese. We love fashion, the stylish guardians, the English translation, and the English title, Close Call.
I gotta say, pretty solid.
Yeah.
I kind of think that puns are my thing.
Uh-huh.
But I suppose I'm just going off of the original punny titles of the early Deke era.
Sure.
And somebody got the news, or somebody went, guy comes in. How's it going, Frank? Put that down. Put the coffee down. Coffee's for punners.
Oh, my God.
I've been watching some of the old episodes. You know what I see? I see people working hard. Working hard to say, stitch in time saves mime. They're fighting a clown monster.
Got it.
They're working hard.
Yes.
To say that time fries when Usagi gets a job at that Burger King.
Right.
We got to bring this to our Clover Way. What are we doing here, people? We're just letting this go.
Step up your game.
We only got one life. We only got one chance at redubbing and retitling these episodes that came out a decade ago.
Right.
Come on, let's do this.
We gotta make it good.
Yeah.
Make it punny, everybody. Make it punny.
Yeah, come on. Time is punny. Come on. So anyway, I don't know if I'll be able to top that, but I guess I can do my best.
I think you probably can, but yeah. What do you feel about, like, I feel like we've done some shows about fashion before in the past, but maybe it was like a fashion photographer.
Fashion.
A fashion. Move to left. Fashion. Move to right.
At this point, I don't know if that's a David Bowie song
Fashion.
or a Flight of the Conchords song making fun of a David Bowie
I know.
song. Yeah, we kind of have, but not to this degree, and we'll get into it. There's the way back in the day. There's Cameron.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking of. Mm-hmm.
Where there might have been show me love, yes, no.
Yes.
But this is like really like behind the scenes. The designing, the egos.
Yes.
That whole sort of aspect of the business.
Yes.
I recently. Oh, what the hell? Let's just make this the intro. We'll complain about, people not giving us reviews later. I recently saw a sci-fi film.
Uh-huh.
I've been on a quest. I've had a little extra time because we've got some things in development and we've been actively working less. A lot of our work is development right now.
Yes.
And so I've had a little time to watch films, which I love doing, and I don't get to do that often unless it's for content. And so I've been just going through and saying, what are all the classic sci-fi films that I haven't seen yet? And I'm not bragging. I have a life spent chasing theater, but when I go, the 150 best sci-fi films of all time, you look at those lists on the internet, I've seen all these films.
Uh-huh.
I've seen them all.
Yeah.
And so I found one, and I got real near the end, and I was really discouraged, and I was at like 130 or something like that. And I saw a film that I had not seen before. It was called Liquid Sky.
Huh.
And I was like, I've never heard of this film before.
I never have either.
And there's a good reason, because it is from 1982, and it is a film that was shot independently, completely guerrilla, no studio, no permits, no actors. And it is all about, it's not really about what it's about. It's more about like a vibe. It captures the vibe of the punk scene and the sort of avant-garde art scene of 1982. And it stars a woman who's an actress. She's done a couple things, but this is mostly the only thing that she did. And she was a model and an actress. And she plays like this disaffected young model. She also plays her rival, this male model, who she has like this sort of antagonistic relationship with. Aliens land in New York.
Of course they do.
And they are feeding off of people's like endorphins. And so they realize that they're looking for heroin users.
Oh my God.
But they also realize that the same chemicals that are released during like orgasm are similar to the chemicals in heroin or whatever.
Sure.
So they realize they can feed off that as well. And so they're kind of like watching this early 80s New York club scene play out. And so it's like a slice of like the art, not really disco, post-disco punk scene of the, the Upper West Side in New York. But then it's also like a weird alien thing. And then it's also really disaffected in that way that I kind of like, so we call it Lynchian sometimes, but they're not real actors. So nobody's really acting. So they're just sort of like, you'll never get that shoot. I can shoot better than you. And I don't know. It's just like, now I'll tell you, it's got a lot of violence in it. It's got a lot of sexual assault in it.
Okay.
I'm not saying like it's a great movie and you should run out and see it, but I'd never seen it before. And I found myself just thinking about it. And then lo and behold, we pull up an episode of Sailor Moon that's all about fashion and androgyny.
Yeah, that's true. That's interesting. So and you just watched it recently.
Yes, it's called Liquid Sky. That's the mind space I'm in right now.
Huh. Well, that's really cool. I love when things happen like that, like synergy, right?
Yeah, like releasing an episode about Miyamoto Musashi a day after the anniversary of his duel on Ganryo Island.
I know. That's pretty cool.
We planned that.
We totally planned that.
Yeah.
Totally planned that.
Absolutely planned that.
100% planned that.
Take 6 weeks off of the show. We meant for that to happen. It worked out great.
It did work out great, actually. So, well, why don't you tell us what happens?
Okay, so first of all, these aliens show up.
Yeah.
No, in the episode. Okay, right. So, yeah.
Wait, Ale and Ann are back? What's going on?
Oh, man.
I know, right?
Live action, first part, Sailor Moon R.
Yeah, the Doomtree arc is sometimes called.
Bang-a-rang.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll go work on that,
okay.
but I'll do it later.
All right.
First, you want this recap.
Yeah.
It opens in a park in Izubu, Juban. We open to the synthy strains of a pop tune that could only accompany one thing. Fashion show! I swear, you could make a six-figure living in the 80s and 90s just writing stock music for fashion show scenes or like fashion shoot scenes.
Uh-huh.
It's got that 4x4 beat that...
Yes.
This is before people discovered the rave beat, it's not quite that. That's later. And it's got some kind of like guitar loop, going over and over. And then you just add the sound of flash bulbs glowing off.
Uh-huh.
Yes, darling, Mom, just give it to me. Yes. No, that kind of thing. Well, that's what's happening here. We see a large crowd of people and a stage and a runway, and these girls are working it. And we see the name of the designer on the backdrop, Yoshiki Usui. Mm-hmm. And in the front row, just behind the red rope, we see Usagi, Chibi, and the squad watching the show. And I know she's gone. I know she's not coming back. But right behind them is a girl in a green blouse with kind of wavy auburn hair. And I thought for 1 second that it could be Naru.
Oh, no.
But alas, no, it's just in my headcanon.
That breaks my heart.
She would have loved this. She would have loved to come see this.
I know.
Or too bad she's dead.
Or there's like...
I'm sorry, the old Naru can't come to the phone right now. Why?
Because she's dead.
Or like the girls are mad at her and she's just like in the background being like, hey guys. Hey guys, it's me, Naru.
No, I'll be over here. Okay. Cool dresses, huh? Rei says, Yoshiki Usui, so hot right now. Mm-hmm. He's been gaining popularity recently. Ami says, I heard that he's opening a shop nearby soon. And this fashion show is being held in honor of that. Manako says, he wants to express the world of dreams that girls have through the medium of clothes.
So hot right now.
And we see there's some nice fits. I can't describe all the clothes in the show. Maybe we can do like a post on it. But there's a lot of stuff that's more intricate than what our girls would usually wear, but still practical and chic. Mm-hmm. Nothing really crazy here. Mm-hmm. I mean that in a good way. More contempo casuals, less Thierry Mugler.
Yeah, right.
Mugler, I barely know her. And it seems that flowers, and specifically the daisy, is Usui's signature. I point that out here because it's not coming back at all.
Oh. I was like going to say, I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
Right.
I wrote that down and then I was like, that never comes back. But it sort of like represents like, he wants to make clothes for girls. I don't know if this is like a juniors show, but it's like, it's for girls, it's fresh, it's fun stuff, colorful. At the conclusion of the show, Usui himself comes out on stage in salmon flat front slacks and a pirate shirt, which is 100% period accurate. I had a pirate shirt.
Did you?
Maybe they'll come back around. Maybe I've got it somewhere still.
But I don't want to be a pirate.
And the women in the crowd lose their minds.
Yeah.
Talk about panty shots in anime. This guy should be buried in a mountain of panties.
Oh my God.
This guy's basically a young Tom Jones. Although, I don't know if Tom Jones has any fashion sense. He's actually trying to get you to take your clothes off all the time.
He is.
So it seems like no. Maybe if this was a hat fashion show. Or maybe that song, You Can Leave Your Hat On, is set backstage at a fashion show, and he's trying to get you through a quick change really fast.
Oh my God.
Baby, take off your dress, put this swan on.
Oh my God.
Usagi says his clothes are cute, but the girls think that he's so cute. And Ami says, look! And we see the piece de resistance of the show, a wedding dress with a real fairy tale vibe. It's it's an off-the-shoulder ball gown with a pink bow, blue rose accents, and a sea green bodice and gloves. And it works because they're like triadic colors. You know, they go together. They make a thing on the wheel there. Everybody likes this, and the show ain't the only thing climaxing.
Oh my God.
Usui takes a bow for the audience and runs backstage, but we see him sigh once he's out of the spotlight, because being fabulous is such hard work. We flash to the neon bar where Fisheye is trying on a dark blue teddy with yellow ruffles. Now we're getting somewhere.
Is that what it is? I thought maybe it was like a swimsuit, but.
It's a chemise.
Okay.
Which is, attached to panties. It's taken in at the waist and then it's ruffled panties. That's a teddy.
All right.
Fish says, hey, check this out. It was designed by Yoshiki Usui. Wait, these evil circus ghosts pay attention to human fashion? Fish says, Usui had a show today and I was there. But Tiger's Eye and Hawk's Eye, the other eyes, aren't paying attention. They're too busy looking through the photos of potential victims. Fish is like, hey, listen. But Tiger is fishing a particular photo out of the pile and says, ugh, another guy got in here. Hawk says, there ought to be a law that men can't have beautiful dreams. You'd think that two guys with this much jewelry on would be more confident in their masculinity.
I know.
But, that's a shrug.
Yeah.
Can't hear it.
There was a shrug sound.
Shrug noise. Fish says, whoa, I'm so lucky, and grabs the photo away. It's Yoshiki Usui. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. And Hawk says, so you got to cross-dress again?
Oh my God.
But Fish says, no. I'm going to approach him using the concept of a handsome man this time. Okay, now we are getting somewhere. We cut to Shei Tsukino, where Chibi is sketching her perfect wedding dress. And I should mention that this is in her drawing room, off the bedroom.
I know.
How big is this attic?
Apparently pretty big.
I was thinking that it was like a conversion bedroom on the top half floor, but apparently she's got a sunken living room and a sauna and a 3-car garage. The Pegasus phone lights up and Pegasus says, did a policeman tell you to sketch that? But Chibi says, I saw a fashion show today, and at the end, there was a pretty wedding dress. And Pegasus says, when you wear a wedding dress, many years from now, I wonder who will be at your side. And Chibi says, huh? Oh, yeah, it's no good if I don't have someone to marry me. We'll talk later.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
I could talk for a while.
Pegasus wants to talk about it now. There's a beat where we see just Pegasus's face, and we hold on it, and then he says, I'm sure someone suited for you will appear someday. When I'm through.
Oh my God.
Chibi says, he doesn't say the last part. Chibi says, someone wonderful? And Pegasus says, yes, someday. Getting hot in here. That night in a downtown loft, we see Yoshiki working late into the evening. Another man walks in. He's also in a blousey shirt and has longish black hair. And he says, if you work too hard, it's bad for your health. There's plenty of time to finish the autumn-winter collection. But Yoshiki says, leave me alone. Sorry, I'm a little uptight right now.
I'm so tired. No, Todd, not now.
He says, I guess I'm in a slump. Todd, the other man, which I'm calling him until I get a name.
Okay.
Spoiler, I never will.
Yeah, I know, right?
He starts massaging Yoshi's neck. Now we're really getting somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, that feels good.
Mm-hmm.
We cut away.
Oh!
Bang cut much?
Oh my god.
I tell you, Todd's got shoulder length hair because we just used the bang cut. To a cafe
Oh my god.
the next morning where Yoshi is lolling in a patio chair, purple aviators on.
Yeah.
He's a fashion man. He's got purple sunglasses. Hungover? He's just tired.
I don't know.
But if this wasn't a child show, this would be the hungover code, right?
Right.
He says to himself, I've been making clothes with girls' dreams in mind, and I've never run out of ideas before. And as he talks to himself, we see his view of the passersby on the street, upside down in purple, of course. Mm-hmm. And he says, I wonder if I need something new, some stimulus. And in the reflection of his glasses, we see Fisheye pass. Fisheye's wearing a white batwing tee under suspenders and high-waisted straight-leg slacks in khaki. Very, very 90s chic. Mm-hmm. He immediately gets up and says, wait! Beautiful, a miracle! You're the only one that can bring new life to the images in my mind! It's interesting that Hawk and Tiger have to essentially coerce their victims, but Fisheye is like 2 for 2 in just pulling these dudes in on the first shot.
I know. I think that's interesting, too.
They're lucky they're so hot. Yoshi says, can you model for me exclusively? And Fish says, me? And Yoshi says, it's all right. Even if you are a guy, having a miraculous person that surpasses genders might be where I can find true, pure girlishness. Mm-hmm. Well, don't tell J.K. Rowling that, but he might be onto something.
Oh, my God.
It's kind of more of an 80s thing. I don't know how far the androgyny went into the 90s. It was big in the 80s. The film Liquid Sky.
I think it happened in the 90s,
but
too.
In the 90s, there was a lot of Simply Irresistible, slicked back, matte, lipstick, kind of a more severe look. But I wouldn't call it androgynistic.
But there were a lot of guys who had long skater hair.
Okay, but guys with long hair, but then the poet shirts open a little bit for the rug to come out, or just totally shaved. This is the birth of the otter, really, right? So maybe on that side, the Jay Davidsons of the world, okay, I can see it a little bit.
Yeah,
but this is 95 though.
Yeah.
We're already getting into...
Hit me with your genius bottle, rub it all over me.
God, no.
I should say, without assuming anything about Fish, Fish does seem to be tailoring their look for this particular effect. Mm-hmm. When they were in the Teddy before, they looked pretty prototypically feminine.
Yes.
But on the street, even in this traditionally female outfit, they're not very curvy, they're pretty flat-chested. So either they're choosing to dress a certain way, or they've got control over their body and shape. It doesn't have to be that.
I think it's more they're choosing to dress in a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're filling out that Teddy pretty good. But, it's all kinds of ways that you can dress.
Yeah. And it's also, yeah.
We're going to get there.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely going to get there.
Yeah, I know.
Yoshi takes Fish's hand, and Fish grabs it right back and says, and they're using their butchest voice here. Mm-hmm. They're like, would I really be able to do the job?
I know.
And they kind of titter a little and then just laugh like, ha 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 ha! And we match cut from that laugh into Yoshi's studio where Fish, who is just in panties, is being measured by Yoshi's stylists. But Fish is jumping up and down and laughing, and the girls are like, hold still. And Fish is like, oh, it tickles. And gets poked with a pin.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did my pin get in the way of your ass?
Fish is like, oh, sure. You poke. I kid you, and you poke me with that high five, and you poke me with a pin, and it's my fault. Come on. I've had enough of this. And the stylist says, I'm sorry. And Fish says, but what, klutz? I'm going home. Todd is there in his Davy Jones outfit. Mm-hmm. And he says, I'm sorry. I apologize on their behalf. Usui needs you. Please help us a little longer. And Fish rips the dress off and says, then fix it to a design that's better than this, and then I'll listen to you. And Todd is like, Pierre, give me strength. Just then, Yoshi pops his head in and says, hey, can you look at some of these new designs? But before Todd can answer, Fish says, let me see, and runs over to him, just dressless, just in a pair of panties. That's it.
Yep.
The design that he has is kind of a women's business suit in red with wide pink lapels. It's a little the secretary of the mayor on the Powerpuff Girls. Remember that?
I don't remember
Mrs. Secretary.
No, I don't remember
Only she
Mrs.
had
Secretary.
the dump truck ass.
She's got a dump truck ass.
And Fish is like, not so much. May I? And they grab his pen and start doodling on the sketch. But Todd is like, no! And pushes Fish away from Yoshi. Drama.
Yes.
Fish says, what are you doing, assistant? But Todd says, we want to make his clothes, not yours. Stay out of the design side. Mm-hmm. Fish says, I don't like him. Get rid of him. And Yoshi says, but he's been with me since I started. And Fish says, either he goes or I do. And everyone in the studio is watching this, mouths agape. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, we had Naomi Campbell in here last week, but this is too far.
Yeah.
One girl says, you can't quit as soon as you see something you don't like. And Fish says, whatever. What are you going to do? And Yoshi says, can't you possibly feel better somehow? But Fish says, no. Todd thinks for a bit and says, I'll quit. And he puts his hand on Yoshi's shoulder and says, create great new pieces. I'll look forward to them. I'm a daydream believer. So it's a Davy Jones thing. And he leaves. And Fish laughs triumphantly. Mm-hmm. And one of the girls says, I've personally had 3 ribs broken by Linda Evangelista, but this is nuts.
Oh my God.
They're known to be difficult. Models.
Yes, they are.
Across town, Usagi is window shopping with Mamoru, and she sees one of the outfits from the Usui show. And this one is not so great. It is a yellow, green, and pink pattern blouse with what looks like denim shorts and a denim vest, yellow boots, and a flat bowler hat. This is like Chain Gang Blossom style. Maybe good for Usagi. Who knows? Usagi is running around saying, everything is so cute. And Mamoru is standing with the shop attendant who says to him, can she shop a little more quietly? It's been an hour. Mamoru's like, it's my whole life. Hey, Usako, I'll buy you an outfit, but let's go. And Usagi says, it's okay. I'm happy just looking at them. Oh, here's another one. With the attendant staring daggers over his shoulder, Mamoru says, no, I want to buy you one. And Usagi turns as the music swells and says, Mamo-chan, you care about me that much? And Mamoru's like, yeah, let's pay and we'll leave. And the attendant is like, thank you for shopping with us today. Outside the store, Mamoru is looking into his now empty wallet, and Usagi says, thank you, Mamo-chan. And she says, and listen to these words. She says, what do you think happens when you spell out my heart in 4 syllables right now?
What?
And Mamoru says, boo hoo hoo hoo. Thinking about his wallet. But she says, no, pure happiness. Mm-hmm. And he smiles. It was only 25,000 yen.
Oh my God.
It's like $250.
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting that you point out that it's different in the translation, because it is different in the translation. In the new Viz sub, she says, what 4 words do you think express how I feel right now? And Mamoru says, boo hoo hoo hoo. But she says instead, I feel so happy.
Yes.
But I did think that it was interesting that the translation that I watch, which in some ways it's superior, got it down to 4 syllables.
Yeah, yeah.
Pure happiness.
That's true.
Also,
That's
the
true.
title of my translation, the title of the episode is Love Those Minis, the Fashionable
What?
Soldiers.
Love those minis.
Yeah, well, we'll get there.
Yeah, we will.
We cut hard to Fish and Yoshi. Fish has clothes on now. And we're looking over a spread. Well,
we don't know. We don't know where we are.
we don't know where we are.
Yeah.
They were in a room full of people before.
They
so
were.
I think we're bang cut free here. But you can never tell. Fish has clothes on. We're looking over a spread of some new designs. Let's say that they have a little more of a dead moon flair about them.
Sure.
Yoshi says, thanks. This is all because of you. I want you to always be by my side from now on. And Fish says, yes, because you can't do anything without me anymore.
Yeah.
Great time to go for the mirror, right?
Yeah.
Boom, you just got it, right?
Right.
Dream, no dream, Pegasus, no. Nope, we're starting a fashion empire instead.
Do you think that, sidebar, do you think that Fish, it like sometimes gets like sidetracked? Like they're so into their victims that they're like...
They put a lot of time into these.
They do. That maybe they're like, maybe I could make this work. And then they're like, oh, no? Well, dream mirror then.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been in this swamp for about a week now. I've got a rash, but we're so close.
Yeah.
We're so close to something special.
Right.
Yeah. If I just had that dry cleaning place.
Oh
across
my
the state.
God.
We see the finished line of dresses for the show, and there's a real aquatic theme here. There's
Seems
like
to fit.
a conch shell type dress. There's a couple fish-like designs. There's a shark dress. There's one that I think is supposed to be a sea anemone. And there's a squid dress, too, with little tentacle fringe. We also see the entire staff of Yoshi's studio all bow in unison and say, we're all resigning as of today.
Yes.
And they walk out. Fish has their arms wrapped around Yoshi and says, you don't need people that don't understand art. You have me. Is Fish going to try to do a sweatshop thing here?
I don't
Go
know.
find some Chinese and Vietnamese immigrants and just go full Reebok on this?
That's exactly the way I ran my sweatshops. Is it?
I have no idea.
They need somebody to sew this stuff.
I know. I have another question.
These fish dresses aren't going to sew themselves.
No, they're not. Like, the assistants, when they quit, did they just seem exhausted? Or, like, to me, it almost seemed
I think
like...
they are quitting out of disgust, artistic disgust.
Probably, but, like, it almost seemed like, because their eyes were, like, they were, like, dead in the eyes, and they bowed at the same time, so I was like, are they being mind controlled?
I agree, but...
With this show, I was
not,
confused.
Why not control... Well, obviously, maybe you want to get rid of Todd, but, like, why not make Todd not yell at you? Like, I think she's exerting her influence over Yoshi. Although, we don't even know that, because we know that he is mercurial in pursuing his muse, and so... Maybe he's not mind controlled. He's just, this is his new direction. He thinks this is it.
I don't know that Fish can mind control.
Well, then why'd you bring it up?
Because that's what it seemed. It was confusing. Knowing the show, I was like, what is happening?
Watches the door slam behind his former staff and says to Fish, sorry, can you leave me alone? And as he walks away, Fish says, artists are also moody. Oh my God, I think I love Fish Eye. At the park, Yoshi is on a swing, and he's doing that I'm too old for this, but I'm still cool swing thing, where he's got his feet on the board, and he's holding onto the chains, and he's swinging his feelings. He's swinging it out. He says, why won't anyone understand? I'm giving it all I got. Just then, Usagi walks by, and she's like, he's too big for that swing. Oh my God! It's Mr. Usui! Mr. Usui! It really is you!
Yeah.
And he's like, who are you? And she says, my name is Usagi Tsukino. I saw your show. It was wonderful, especially the wedding dress. I swore that one day I would wear a dress like that. And he's like, oh, thank you. That's very... But Usagi looks back and forth a couple times. And she leans in conspiratorially and says, I got a favor to ask of you. Don't think I'm being shameless, but it can't hurt to try. Would you design a wedding dress for me for free? Oh, you think I'm being a shameless girl.
I know.
And he says, well, maybe a little. And she says, that's why I said so before I asked. Didn't hurt to try. And Yoshi's like, am I in this scene?
Should I go?
He starts laughing and he says, sorry, Usagi, right? That outfit that you're wearing, I designed it, no? And this is the outfit that Mamoru bought her. She's got on, it's like a loose pink tee with a red mini and like a dark blue like bodice underneath.
I think so. Yeah.
There's a lot happening in this thing.
There is.
And it says Yoshiki across the front. And he says, is Mamo-chan, is that who you're wearing the wedding dress for? And Usagi says, oh, sheesh. But yes, he is. And he says, do you like my clothes? And she's like, yes. And he says, why? And she says, well, they're cute, but they're lovely. And let's see. I don't know. I just love them. Are you worried about something? are you in a slump? And he's like, Usagi says, at times like that, maybe it'll take your mind off things to design me a wedding dress.
She's so focused.
He laughs again and she's like, what? And he says, now I'm thinking that I should be designing you a dress. And she's like, really? And he's like, you know what? Sure. Design and designing. I've forgotten this feeling for a while now. It's terrible being overworked. I've forgotten this feeling. I can't design when I feel bad. He turns to Usagi and he says, thank you. Because of you, I'm remembering who I really am. And Usagi's like, okay. He says, as thanks, I'll design you that dress, okay? And she says, I don't know what's going on, but I'm happy. And he says, drop by my atelier later. And she says, lucky. And he says, you need to cut that hair, lose 30 pounds.
Oh,
how do you feel about breast implants?
Cut my hair.
Later in the tub, Usagi is saying to herself, it really is worth asking. Can't hurt to try. She gets sprayed in the face by Chibi.
I know.
Who says, there's no way Yoshiki Usui would design you a dress, Usagi. And Usagi says, he said he'd do it. I'm supposed to go to his atelier. Chibi says, wait a minute, seriously? And Usagi says, yep. Does that change your opinion of me? And Chibi says, spray in your face. At the atelier, Yoshi has torn all his dresses from their mannequins. And he says, did I really design all these? They're like animal suits. This isn't Furcon 95.
Whoa.
Behind him appears Fish, who says, what are you doing? And he says, I'm redesigning all these. And Fish is like, why? But he says, look, you don't have to come here anymore. And Fish says, I see. Then it's also goodbye. For you! The rug unfurls, and when it refurls, there's a quick change.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, he's on the board, and his mirror is out. On the street, outside of the studio, Chibi and Usagi hear his scream and nod to each other. And they transform! Quick change themselves. In the studio, Fish pulls their head out of the mirror. A lot less orgasmic squealing, I've noticed, when it's a guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yes.
Fish says, sheesh, I picked the wrong one again. I guess you gotta die now. You gotta say something like, into the rag bin with you, or I'm gonna let your soul out a bit.
Kind of clever with the fact that you're killing somebody.
I'm gonna let your soul out a bit.
That's pretty good.
Of your body.
Yeah, right.
Close it up. We hear, hold it right there. Wonderful clothes are everyone's envy and source of cheerfulness. We can't forgive you for torturing someone that makes such clothes. In the name of the moon, we'll punish you. It's Sailor Moon and Sailor Chibi. You better head to Goodwill, because we're all out.
Whoa.
Of Goodwill.
Yes.
Stuff like that. There's a lot of opportunities.
Yes.
Fish looks at the two of them and says, And Sailor Moon is like, what? And Fish says, you ever think it's embarrassing to jump around in such a short skirt? Thank you. Essentially, you're like, well, I never, Chibi, you? Chibi's like, I'm 7, I don't care. And Sailor Moon's like, no, not at all. And Fish says, oh, interesting. Okay. Well, forget I asked. To me, lemure Gomario, seal trickster. And out of Fish's, I hope there are not out of Fish's, the seals be mad. And out of Fish's shadow appears, well, a seal.
Yes.
Nose ball and all.
Uh-huh.
I'll be damned.
I know.
Fish says, get rid of these silly girls with no shame. Leave the shoes.
Shoes. Oh my God. Shoes.
The seal. Talk about going back in time.
I know.
The seal slaps his flippers together in assent. Say that 10 times fast. Chibi's like, wow, he's good. And Usagi's like, okay, so he's a seal. The seal bounces a ball or a balloon on its nose, and we hear a voice say, much thanks to you, second cousin, Puko the balloon girl, whom you've met before. Wait a minute. Is this a 2-part Yomo with a fake out and a reference to Puko the balloon girl from episode 132?
Are you telling me that you have a multi-stage trick with hidden identities?
Whoa. Magnifique. As the ball turns, we see that the ball has a face, and the seal bounces it straight at the Senshi. Fish says, I'm leaving them to you, and begins to disappear through a ring of water. But as they leave, the seal grabs onto their foot with its mouth. And Fish says, "Oh, no biting." And the two disappear through the portal. The ball is the Yoma.
I know.
Just the ball.
I know.
The seal was a prop the entire time. It's incredible.
That was great.
Laughing maniacally, the ball Gomario comes right at the girls. It looks bad, but Usagi catches it. It's a ball. It's about 6 inches across. She just catches the ball. She just catches it.
It's funny.
She's like, "Oh, I caught him." And the lemure's like, "Nice catch. Now let go of me." As he struggles to try to get out of her grasp. She kind of lets him go like, what? Okay. And he bounces off the floor. And then he says, "This time, it's not so easy." And he bounces into a frenzy, throwing himself at the girls, much faster this time, and sends them flying. He rebounds off the walls and ceilings several times until he hits them squarely in the back, smashing them into the wall. As he bounces back, he laughs and says, "Ha ha, you look as flat as a squid." So we all know that old idiom, flat as a squid.
So I think, so it was a little different in mine. Like, it was like flat as rolled squid and like, or cuttlefish, which is, it's like squid and it's like, so it's like dried.
So that's funny because that's like, as far as translation rewind goes,
yeah,
that's just it's like delocalization.
Yeah.
Because if you said squid, you'd be like, I don't know, squid's out of water, then it's holding them up. So they're just sort of like, okay, it's flat. But this is specifically, no, let's make sure that people know it's about the cuisine. A rolled, flattened squid. We all know that.
Or rolled
delicious
cuttlefish. Yeah, I know.
Had it for my birthday.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's not something that you would know about really commonly.
Which is why we should definitely, some American translators like, no, they got to know about the rolled squid. They'll get it. Anyway, it's like a cartoon. They're like, squished against the wall.
Yes. Yes.
He's just sitting on the floor when we hear the Tuxedo Mask music start.
Yeah.
And he looks around, left, right, up, as the music plays.
Uh-huh.
Until a red rose shoots into him and just deflates him into the ground.
I know.
From behind a mannequin, Tuxedo Mask steps out.
Because of course.
And says, "It's a woman's everlasting wish to stay beautiful in the latest fashion. I'm here to protect the wishes of all women." A rose shoots into the wage gap. Deflates. That toilet seat's up. Rose knocks it down.
Oh my God.
"Oh, I can't play my Xbox. There's a rose in it." Girlfriend turns to the camera. "Thanks, Tuxedo Mask." Wink. Sailor Moon and Chibi are like, "Tuxedo Mask," as they slide down the wall. Gomario says, "That's a cheap trick." And he peels himself off the floor and he begins to stretch and grow until he's got arms and legs and a whole body.
Yeah.
Balloon Man, father, Balloon Man.
Did you notice that he still has like Tuxedo Mask's rose out of his head?
Yes. He says, "Here I come!" And he turns into a ball like Samus Aran and he spins right at Sailor Moon. But Sailor Moon, thinking quickly and athletically, bumps him like a volleyball. What? Where's Sailor Venus when we need her?
Good point. Yeah.
She would have loved this fashion stuff, too.
She would have.
Tuxedo Mask then sets the lemur in kind, and as Gomario is ready for the spike, TM says, "Now, Chibi Moon!" Chibi raises her Carillon, and with a twinkle yell, she summons Pegasus in this cramped room.
Yeah, I know.
Full of dressers' dummies. Pegasus says, I was the original model for the Polo logo. Yeah, me and Ralph go way back. I'm not much for designer, though. I usually wear things off the peg. That's my time. You've been a great audience.
Oh my God.
Sailor Moon gives us the MGM, and Gomario stages out for the last time, leaving only Tuxedo Mask's rose behind. Yoshi comes to in Sailor Moon's arms, and she says, "I'm glad you've awakened." And Yoshi cannot believe what he's seeing. And we see Tuxedo Mask, Sailor Moon, and Chibi leave in a dreamlike way as he beholds these absolute icons slaying. The next day, at another fashion show in the park, crowds gather to see Yoshiki Usui's winter collection. And it's colorful. It's winter collection. It's bold. It's the winter collection. And miniskirts everywhere. Winter Japan, kind of different.
Yeah. I mean, it's not cold. That's strange.
Yeah. Love these minis. The cats are there too, and they're like, what is that? And we see a blonde model in pigtails with a white mini dress with a blue vest and a red bow and pink boots. So something's going on there. Mm-hmm. Also, we see a very floofy wedding dress with mint trim and big puffy sleeves. And Usagi looks like Sarah from Labyrinth.
A little bit, yeah.
Usagi's like, is that my dress? And the girls are like, oh, what now? And Usagi says, wait, let me explain. But Chibi is just drinking it all in. And she thinks to herself, please protect all the girls' dreams forever, Mr. Usui. And we see Usui himself looking out from the wings, his faithful assistant Todd once again at his side.
Yay.
Confirmed bachelors.
I know, right?
Forever. Protect all the dreams, Mr. Usui, she says. Mm-hmm. That's what she says about Pegasus usually. Interesting. Pegasus had better get on this thing fast. World-renowned designer found gored to death in mysterious slaying. Hoofprints everywhere.
Oh my god. The weapon looks like it could be a horn of some kind. We're not sure.
Perhaps a fiendish narwhal was here. Or maybe very specifically he was killed on a merry-go-round. Then the body was brought here.
Oh my god.
But there's no signs of... because that merry-go-round's got like...
Yes.
horses.
Yes.
Or like
sometimes
a merry-go-round
unicorns.
pole.
Yeah.
The pole.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean... So a lot going on in this episode. I did
love those minis.
Yeah, love those minis. I did appreciate. So yeah, Yoshiki loves those minis. So don't feel bad about jumping around them, girls. It's fine. I did think it was cool that. I mean, they didn't come like right out and say, okay, Yoshiki is his boyfriend and stuff like that. But for this, I feel like it was. Pretty clear that's what was going on, And
it's the kind of thing, yeah. I mean, look, there's plausible deniability. There's sort of a modern, hopeful read of something, but it's kind of like, that's what's going on.
I mean, at the very least, obviously he's his assistant.
Daisu Mini!
Daisu Mini?
I love those minis!
Oh my god.
Sorry.
But at least, like, at the very least, it's like a love interest, if nothing else is really going on. There's something there between the two of them,
Well, you don't... Yeah. There's not a lot of, like, male backrubs going on.
No.
Hey, Jerry, rub some lotion on my back.
Who are you, Mrs. Robinson?
Come on, and I'll rub some on you.
No, that's not sweetening the deal.
Would that we were all more like Yoshi or Fish in that way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a great app for Usagi. And she's used well because she is as dumb as she's ever been.
Yeah.
But it's a dumbness that can inspire other people. This designer,
it's super sweet.
He works through his medium is clothes, mm-hmm. and his muse is the spirit of girl, mm-hmm. and he meets the girlest girl of all time, who nakedly asks him, to design a dress for free. Hey, it's worth a shot.
Yeah,
you gotta ask. But beyond that, he's just like, this person is so excited about what I do and gets so much joy from what I'm doing that's what I'm doing here. I don't have to chase this weird instinct to make a mackerel dress or something like that. Like, that's not...
I have to do something different. Yeah.
And that's all well and good. Although Thierry Mugler has a motorcycle dress that was one of his most famous designs.
Yeah, he does.
So, like, maybe the weird thing is good. So what's being said here? And I want to bring something up, and I don't want to harsh the party. I don't want to spoil the party. But is this part of the trend that I see in Sailor Moon that I think can be a dangerous thing, which is the constant maintaining of the status quo? Mm-hmm. In social and political circles, that has become something of a topic for discussion and a buzzword recently. Uh-huh. When you think about it, the bad guys are the outliers. The bad guys are the gender benders. The bad guys are the guys that, unless they are actually breaking laws and like assaulting people, they're the ones who are weird and strange. And our heroes are normal and are trying to return it to a normal. And whenever they come upon a scene, they're like, hold it right there. Let me tell you, carve this in stone. All women love fashion everywhere, and they feel pretty when they wear it. We're not going to let you put fish dresses into this fashion pond.
Yes.
And then I'm in the moon, I'll punish you. They're the ones who are returning things like when Taylor Mask. When Taylor Mask shows up, she's like, I don't know any Taylor Swift songs.
I just think
Romeo and
of
Juliet
Taylor
or something,
Dane or something like that.
I love her voice. When Taylor Dane shows up, she's like, I don't know any Taylor Dane songs either. He's like, this is what happened. This is what it is. And you are a deviant and you're trying to do something that you're not supposed to do. Get out of here. Mm-hmm. And it's one thing when you're an evil alien from another dimension, but it's something else for little girls to hear that and go, well, I better get that wedding dress. I better talk to that weird horse at night in my PJs.
It's
actually, weird. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like a thing like Steven Universe because a thing like Steven Universe is like the good guys are good because they do good things and they help each other, and not because they are, the good guys are a guy or a girl, or they're androgynous, or they love whoever they want, and the bad guys are bad because they are selfish and they want to take things from people.
Right.
That's a good message.
It is a good message. I know that Steven Universe was, a lot of the folks who created that were inspired by elements of Sailor Moon and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I completely understand what you're saying. And one thing I did want to talk about was like, when this episode started and it's like, okay, it's fashion. They're excited about fashion. Cool, whatever. And then they get to the wedding dress and then like all the girls except me were like, oh my God, it's so pretty. Oh, I love it. I was like, do we have to keep hitting this note over and over again with the show about like, I'm a girl, so of course I'm dreaming about getting married.
And especially because we've got like 5 girls. Yeah. And I know that none of them are the focus of this. This is an Usagi episode. This is Usagi Solo Jam. And so how deep do we want to go into everybody's individual reactions to something? And maybe it just works better if they're unified in liking something, and then the joke at the end is that like, why do you get a free wedding dress? Right. But every single one of those people, I can think of a character specific reaction to that would be either positive or negative. And instead they have to just be a front.
Right. To bookend the episode.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So like, I get like why that's not playing out, but I'm just talking about like the more structural nature of the show where, a character is doing one thing and then the bad guy goes, what if you did it a little differently? And then our heroes come in and go, no, you must do it the way it's always done. And we'll murder you.
Right.
Speaking of a slump, we're getting out of the slump.
Okay, you're turning me around. I gotta say, I was not enjoying this as much when I was watching it. Like, I know, like, Fisheye is, like, kind of being like a rude model, and that it's kind of just like, like, oh, haha, we're
like Pout Fit. Now it makes sense.
Yes. But like,
what a lame payoff.
Oh, come on. But I just was like, it was just like so mean, and I was like, this seems like out of nowhere. I know somebody like kind of accidentally pricked you with a pin, but you're letting this go way to your head. And I was like, I don't know. Maybe it was just the mood I was in. I wasn't enjoying it so much.
I had to stop it because I kept laughing too much.
Really?
All of you relax. This is a matter of inconvenient timing, that's all. Rebooting the podcast was inevitable. This is simply the beginning. I thought I told all of you I want broadcast silence until further...
Ooh, I'm very sorry, Cal. I didn't get that message. Maybe you should have put it on Twitter. I figured since you were relaunching the Just Enough Trope podcast, you might be a little lonely, so I decided to be your co-host.
That's very kind of you. I assume you're our mysterious podcaster. You're most troublesome for a Sailor Moon fan.
Sorry, Cal. Wrong guess. Would you like to go for an all-new show where the hosts haven't really changed?
Who are you, then?
Just a fly in the ointment, Cal. The dye in the hard. The moon and the lighting.
She's talking about the rebooted Just Enough trope, where we'll dive deep into the pop culture elements that make up your favorite movies, TV shows, comics, and video games. See if she's lying about moonlighting and find out if Bruno has returned.
No, respect yourself.
Miss Mystery Guest, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Unless you want to sing a duet with me.
No, I'm afraid not. But you have me at a loss. You know my name, but who are you? Just another podcast host who saw too many movies as a child? Another orphan of a bankrupt culture who thinks she's John McClane, Corbin Dallas, a crooning Alcapop pitchman?
I was always kind of partial to Seagram's Golden Wine Cooler, actually. It's wet and it's dry.
Do you really think you have a chance with this new show, Ms. Co-host?
Yippee-ki-yay, Mother Cooler.
Just Enough Trope, 40 stories of sheer pop culture deconstruction. Available everywhere you listen to your favorite shows.
Do I sound like I'm ordering a podcast?
Today for Kero Kero Miru, or Curiously Looking Around, we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode. We're going to talk about Japanese fashion designers.
Ooh.
Yeah, and of course, obviously...
Issey Miyake.
That's
it. That's all I know.
We have, I'm just going to talk about three. Obviously, Japan is a big country. Fashion is huge, so there's obviously way more. I'm going to talk about three that I want to talk about. And they are designers who you may have already heard of, or you should know if you haven't heard of them. Rei Kawakubo is a Japanese fashion designer based in Tokyo and Paris. She is a founder of Comme des Garçons and Dover Street Market. Kawabuko was born in 1942 in Tokyo. Although not formally trained as a fashion designer, Kawakubo studied fine arts and literature at Keio University in Tokyo. After graduation in 1964, Kawabuko worked in the advertising department at a textile company called Asahi Kasei, and they specifically did acrylic fiber textiles. And she was able to. Her supervisor gave her a lot of creative freedom. And she had the job of collecting props and costumes for photo shoots. And this is actually what catalysts her into becoming a designer, because when she couldn't find an appropriate costume, she started making them herself, which I thought was really cool. So just several years later, by 1969, Kawabuko was selling her designs under the Comme des Garçons label to shops in Tokyo. In 1973, she opened her first store, and within a decade, she had 150 stores across Japan and was earning $30 million annually. So a lot in just a short amount of time. Comme des Garçons means like boys in French, and the brand's name was inspired by François Hardy's 1962 song Tous les garçons et les filles, particularly from the line Comme les garçons et les filles de mon âge, or like boys and girls my age. Mm-hmm. And CDG, as I'll continue calling them, specializes in anti-fashion, austere, sometimes deconstructed garments. It's really difficult.
Here's a ball of thread.
Yeah.
Now get out there.
Honestly, maybe. It's really difficult to describe her designs because they're so out there and they're so different from one another. And she combines like a lot of different techniques and fabrics and ideas, like what's feminine and what's masculine, sometimes within like the same look. Uh-huh. And frequently there's contradictions within the look. And she also plays a lot with how fashion can alter the shape of the human body. And a lot of her designs, they're like modern art. They don't, and people have said that her designs aren't wearable. They've argued that before and stuff like that. But during the 1980s, her garments were associated with a distressed punk style and were primarily black. The emphasis on black clothing led to the Japanese press describing Kawabuko and her followers as the Crows.
Huh.
Yeah. So, too black, apparently. The materials were often draped around the body and featured frayed, unfinished edges along with holes, just kind of randomly placed, and a general asymmetrical shape. She challenged the norm. What are the norms? She was thinking outside of the box. She was, pushing herself all the time.
People don't have holes in their shirts. I think we could change this.
Yeah. Exactly. So one of her early shows in Paris called Destroy had such a dominant color palette of black. And that was very uncommon at the time. And this was like in for at least high fashion, it was like early 80s, and a lot of people were really like in the fashion industry were very critical of it, and there are journalists that labeled her clothes Hiroshima chic and post-atomic.
Seems racist.
It seems very racist, and it's like,
what was it? What press? Was it Japanese press?
I think it was.
They can say that.
French,
right.
and or it wasn't Japanese.
Yeah, that's racist.
So, yeah, and it's, I mean, you're calling into like a horrible event that happened because you're saying. Yeah, anyways.
Well, it's the only thing that I can associate with Japan because I don't know anything about Japan.
Right. That, and then you're saying, well, it's black and it's frayed, so that's what. I mean, what are you saying here?
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyways. Yeah. She had her 1997 spring-summer collection is probably one of her most out there. I shouldn't say most out there, but it's something that people have continued to talk about, and it's called Body Meets Dress, Dress Meets Body. And this collection challenged society's feminine beauty ideals by producing basically unfamiliar silhouettes with large stuffed shapes in like all of the fashions. So the designs included looks that exaggerated the size of cleavage, as if the model was wearing a giant boob-enhancing bra, but it's just like stuffed with stuffing on the outside, and re-envisioning like maternal figure and exaggerating like female curves. So that's just kind of a little taste of what she was like. She had a big exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum of Art a couple of years ago, and she was like one of the only like the second living designer to ever have that. So so that means she's pretty special. She's pretty influential. Kansai Yamamoto was born in 1944 in Yokohama, Japan. He focused on civil engineering in high school and majored in English at Nippon University until he dropped out in 1965 to focus on fashion. That's right. Yamamoto's work has been described as, quote, transgressive, excessive, and the, quote, opposite of the concept of wabi-sabi.
Okay. He's not wabi-sabi.
He is not wabi-sabi.
No wango tango.
Yes. In 1971, he opened his own company, Yamamoto Kansai Company, in Tokyo. And his first collection debuted the same year in London and in the United States. And if you don't know his name, you definitely know his work. Kansai became famous for creating androgynous and futuristic stage costumes for David Bowie, most notably for his Ziggy Stardust and Aladdin Sane tours. If you have ever seen the fantastic concert documentary, at least I thought it was pretty great, the Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Yeah. All of the looks that Bowie wore for that concert were designed by Yamamoto. Like the knit suits that are missing like legs and arms and that sort of thing, and like the huge cape that has Japanese written all over it and stuff like that. One of the most famous looks that Yamamoto designed for the Aladdin Sane tour was the black, shiny vinyl jumpsuit that has the pants legs that look like they're giant half circles.
Right.
Yeah, amazing. So the designer actually, after Bowie passed in 2016, Yamamoto told Dazed, quote, some sort of chemical reaction took place when my clothes became part of David, his songs and his music. They become part of the message he delivered to the world. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then I actually, it was like in an article while I was researching, but somebody posted on YouTube, there must have been somebody, his debut show was in 1971, and some rare footage from that show has surfaced in I don't know how many years, like recently-ish, I think. Anyways, it's really cool. There's a lot of really colorful kabuki-inspired fashion. And there's a model who, like, she had her head, she had like a head covering on, and then like she started spinning around, and then it was revealed that she was actually wearing this colorful dress. And then the skirt of her dress like came off, and then she was wearing like this short like mini skirt underneath. So it just kind of like evolved, and it was really cool. And the show included a lot of looks that were kind of based on traditional Japanese culture, and a lot of like really otherworldly looks too. Like there's something that like some of the looks kind of looked like this outfit looks like it could be, you know, not from around here. So
Not from around here.
Yeah, I mean, just trying different things, and you know, it just looks really cool. There are a lot of quick changes that took place, or look changes, I should say, like, which is probably inspired by Hayagawari, which is a technique from kabuki where actors do quick costumes changes on stage. So it was really neat. Like you flip or you turn and you do this, and then now this skirt it's a totally different skirt, you know, and yeah, I think it's really neat. So he actually, like, I think his last like fashion show was in the 90s, and he still did like designing and stuff like that, but not as much for fashion. He did a little bit here and there. In 2018, Yamamoto and Louis Vuitton worked together to create classic Japanese art and kabuki-inspired patterns and prints for LV's Resort 2018 collection. Unfortunately, Yamamoto died on July 21st, 2020, after suffering from acute myeloid leukemia since March of that year. He was only 76. And our third designer is a younger designer. Nigö is a Japanese fashion designer, DJ, record producer, and entrepreneur. Yes, he is all of those things. Born in 1970 as Tomoaki Nagō, Nigö is best known as the creator of the urban clothing line A Bathing Ape, or BAPE, and currently serves as creative director for Kenzo, a French luxury fashion house founded in 1970 by Japanese designer Kenzo Takada. And it is luxury, but it's like streetwear luxury. At least a lot of it's streetwear.
Yeah.
Additionally, Nigö is a member of the Japanese group Teriyaki Boyz, that's Boyz,
right.
Serving as their official in-house DJ since the group's 2005 debut. And I don't know if you know this or not, but they actually had 2 tracks on the Tokyo Drift soundtrack.
Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah. So, including the one with Pharrell. So there you go. Hiroshi Fujiwara, the godfather of Harajuku, was Nigö's fashion mentor. Fujiwara gave him the nickname of Nigö, which translates as number 2, a reference to not only the pair's visual similarity, but the assistant role he would go on to have with Fujiwara. With the help of Fujiwara, the duo opened Nowhere in 1993, a shop specializing in streetwear. Nigö debuted a bathing ape at Nowhere in 1993. The name is both a reference to Nigö's favorite film, Planet of the Apes, and as well as the Japanese idiom, quote, a bathing ape in lukewarm water. And that idiom basically means, so it's kind of like about complacency. Like, so, you know, obviously you want to have a hot bath and everything. And if you bathe in lukewarm water, it's like you've overindulged yourself because you've been in the bath so long that now it's lukewarm.
Okay. Well, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, but so the name Bape is an ironic nod to the lazy opulence of the younger generation of the Japanese, the brand's own customers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when you explain it, suddenly it makes sense.
Right, I know, right?
Otherwise, I think like, oh, Zabe doesn't like his bath water too hot.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on.
I can identify with that.
I know. Nigö initially sold a few Bape t-shirts and camouflage print hoodies, which became, you know, really popular among teenagers. In 2002, Nigö released the Bapeista sneaker, which, according to a BBC presenter, later became the, quote, epitome of collectible footwear. Yeah.
They're all right.
Yeah, just all right.
You know, look, it's all enthusiasm, isn't it?
Yes.
And it's all, I guess all art is like this, at least art that hasn't, or even art maybe that's survived for hundreds of years. I don't know. But it's all like, oh, this is hot, so that's why it's cool.
I mean, you're
I'm not
absolutely
saying
not
that
wrong.
Bape stuff isn't good, but it's like, you look at it, it's like, yeah, it looks like kids. You know what I mean? Like, there isn't anything about it that really blows me away, but sure is popular.
Yeah. And these sneakers were, you know, I think designed to look like Nike's Air Force One is what but it like, yeah, it said it has the Bape logo instead of the Nike logo. But yeah, like you're saying, like this is another part of it, right? Like why it's so popular is, at least in the beginning, it was so popular largely because it was so scarce.
Yeah.
You know, and people decided, like you said, it was cool. So then like it's cool and your supply is just I feel like they did it on purpose. You know, your supply is not as high as your demand. And so then everybody just, you know, they really, really want it. And apparently whenever there was a new drop, a new release, there would be line outside the door, you know, to get them. Yeah. And so, I mean, yeah, that's, you know, you're creating scarcity. But yeah, the brand's street cred increased and, you know, the sales and everything. And so they opened, you know, a dozen more stores across Japan. But in 1998, Nigö scaled down. So he's like, no, too much stuff out there. I don't know. He scaled down to one flagship store. But I think this is the interesting thing, without a drop in overall sales. So I don't know.
It's the exclusivity,
I guess. In 2003, Nigö partnered with Pharrell Williams to create and launch the streetwear brands Billionaire Boys Club and Ice Cream Footwear. I don't know.
Okay.
In 2013, Nigö actually left Bape for good. And in 2014, because he's very much in demand, Nigö became the creative director for Uniqlo's UT brand. And in September 2021, so not that long ago, Kenzo appointed Nigö as its new artistic director. So he's been the artistic director at Kenzo since fall of 2021. And as I was researching, I came across several sources online, including Portland's Business Journal.
Whoa.
Yeah. That as of this week, Nigö has reportedly joined Nike as a design collaborator. And this is big news because for decades he has exclusively been working with Adidas. So that's a big deal. I have a short story about Bape. When I was in Japan in high school, I saw a guy wearing a bathing ape t-shirt, and I think it just said a bathing ape. That's it.
Yeah.
You know. And I was really tickled by it because I was like, what the heck does that mean? Does he know what he's wearing? And now I know what it means, and I can confidently say that, yes, he knows what it says, and it says street cred.
Okay. Wow.
Too much.
Well, it's just like, it's funny because 9 times out of 10, you know, if you are calling somebody out on English or you're saying, oh, that's a nonsense thing.
Right.
You know, you're going to be right. But you pick the one time where it's like one of the most famous brands in the world.
I know.
Which also has a nonsense name. And you're like, what's this?
I know.
And he's like, you don't know. Of course you don't know.
Well, he didn't say that to me,
yeah,
but
right.
I know. Yeah, I got my face. So, yeah. Jokes. You're right. Joke is on me.
Yeah.
So.
Paid a lot of yen for this.
I waited in a long line for this, too.
Well, it's, you know, it's, I guess you could only do 3, but there's just so many more
There's so many.
Japanese designers.
I know.
And so, you know, don't add us. But yeah, we know about Issey Miyake, and we know
well,
about
and I wanted to
Tadashi
say.
Shoji and
Yes.
Kenzo Takada. And yeah.
Issey Miyake, you know, I'm sure you know this. He designed the black turtlenecks that Steve Jobs wore.
Yeah.
I was very tickled by that.
And what's her name?
Oh,
just a drop of blood. We can detect any. Elizabeth Holmes. That's it.
She literally wear the same. This is literally the same black turtleneck.
When she dropped out of whatever tech school she was going to, she's like, Steve Jobs is a success, so I'm going to dress like Steve Jobs. That's why she wears the turtlenecks.
Wow.
That's the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird. Well, like, so I looked into the Steve Jobs thing. Like, apparently, like, he was over in Japan visiting a Sony factory and was, like, curious as to why they were all wearing the same uniform. And then, like, somebody said, oh, it's because, you know, after the war, we had to give our workers clothes because they didn't, you know, they didn't have anything.
Yeah.
And then, but the uniforms were designed by Issey Miyake, and Jobs was like, oh, because like the Sony guy was like, look, you know, it gave them a sense of community and bonding of working within the company. And that might have been true for Sony, but like Jobs really liked that and was like, oh, maybe we should have a uniform, and went to went to Miyake and was like, can you make some vests for me? And he like went to his team and he's like, okay guys, we're gonna wear these vests. He's like, that did not go over well.
Yeah.
But then he asked Miyake, can you give me, you know, some of those shirts that I like? And then apparently, according to Jobs, he sent him like 100. So he's like, no wonder he wore them every day.
Well, that's what he wanted to wear. Yeah. And plus they're designers, so what do you want?
Right. Exactly.
Miyake knew a lot of famous people.
Yeah.
I was reading a story about him where it wasn't until he was, I don't know if they were friends, but he like met Obama, knew Obama.
Sure.
And it wasn't until Obama had spoken out, I think early in his first term, about nuclear disarmament.
Yeah.
And Miyake's like, oh, if anybody wants to know, like, I got my ass bombed in Hiroshima because he grew up in Hiroshima. People knew that, but they didn't know the circumstances. And he's like, yeah, I was there when they dropped the bomb.
He was born in 1938.
Yeah. And his mother, you know, died of cancer from the radiation. And he had actually had like a bone disease when he was younger because of it. He lived a pretty long life after that, but
he just died recently too.
I think last year.
Yeah.
So But yeah, like
I know.
It's like, oh, okay. But he's like, I just never. Nobody wants to talk about that. Like, I just never thought that I could share that with anybody. And he sort of like almost kept it a secret for years until finally, like, America was talking about it. And he's like, oh, somebody might want to know about this. Yeah, I got bombed.
That's so.
I remember seeing the bomb.
Wow. I mean, yeah, well, especially in Japan, they don't want to talk about it by and large.
Yeah.
When I went over there in high school, they brought this lady in who, she was 3 years old when the bomb dropped, and she was in Hiroshima, and she brought in, it was a fascinating talk, but she brought in like the clothes that her and her mother and her father were wearing, and you could see like the effects that the bomb, and she was an older lady, and we talked about like how it had affected her life and her experience and everything. I mean, she was only 3, but how traumatic. You would remember that, and just, yeah, it just, I mean, I'm sure he remembered it too. He was a young kid, but my God. Ugh.
And he said, turtlenecks.
Turtlenecks. I know.
That's the answer.
Turtlenecks. Itadakimasu with Usagi. What did Usagi eat in this episode? Yoshiki is at a cafe and he's drinking either coffee or tea. Gomu Mario says that Sailor Moon and Chibi Moon are, in my cut, it said flat like rolled cuttlefish. And it's an actual snack, and it's just dried cuttlefish seasoned and rolled.
Roll them up.
And the snack is very crispy. So, yeah, there you go.
All right.
Feel engaged where you rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. The lemur in this episode is Gomu Mario, the sea lion ball act, !
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting questions to be had about this.
Yes.
So like, that's a pretty typical circus act.
Yes.
We've already kind of talked about circuses in Japan, but like they got that's a Ringling Brothers classic.
It is.
Do they have? I guess there's more seals in Japan, right? Just go out and get a seal.
Oh Lord, no! I'll just train this one. It's fine. Why isn't it doing it?
You're not going to be hand fed anymore.
Lucille! Watch out for Lucille! I don't care about Lucille! And then a seal bites off his hand.
So like that's, would they identify that from seeing the circus as a kid or seeing like the circus in like a Looney Tunes cartoon as a kid?
Probably Looney Tunes.
Okay.
I don't know for sure, but I would say probably Looney Tunes.
Right.
I think. I don't know.
I suppose.
Yeah, so Gomu, his name, Gomu, is the Japanese term for rubber, and Mario is referencing to the term Mari, or ball, with the O added, and maybe to make it sound like a name. I mean, Mario is a name. It's not really an...
Yahoo!
Yeah, I know, right? Essentially, his name means rubber ball. Okay, so,
I got it.
Yeah. So his design, he looks like a small gold and red beach ball, basically, with a face on it, complete with angry eyebrows and a black spade shape on his forehead. Once deflated, he pumps himself up from the floor into a humanoid beach ball. The same colors as the beach ball, but just a muscular human form.
Yeah.
And he still has Tuxedo Mask's rose sticking out of his head. So yeah, I was very amused by that.
It's like they already did I need some scotch tape. They already did like the fix the puncture. So this case, he'll just, if you leave the rose in, that plugs the hole.
I mean, I guess cartoon logic, that makes sense, right? Yeah.
Yeah, in movies, like people are always like, oh, I got impaled by this thing, piece of rebar. They're like, let's get it out of there. Don't get it out of there.
I know, right?
I know you have to get up and then like continue to shoot 2 guns and fight the bad guy. So I guess you couldn't do that with a piece of rebar in you. But don't pull the rebar out.
Yeah, that's bad news.
When the EMT shows up, he'll be like, why'd you pull it out? Now you got a big hole in you.
Well, and like
before it was blocking the hole.
And can I be honest with you? Before you I feel like you've expressed that like repeatedly over the years, but before
they always want to get the bullet out.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
Don't go digging around for
they always dig their finger
leave
in
the
their
bullet.
body. It's like,
you
why are
might
you
go to the
doing
hospital
that?
and they might go, well, I did some x-rays and we're just going to leave the bullet in there. It's fine.
Yeah, I know,
you live with a
right?
bullet in you.
I know. But like before you said, don't take it out. Why would you do that? And explain that it's much worse and you could lose a lot more
first
blood.
aid, they tell you to just bandage around the object.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I learned from movies, and movies say you just rip that sucker
I'm
out.
glad you know now.
I know,
And
right?
I'm glad in the interval time I didn't get impaled by anything.
I'm glad too.
Because I would have deflated like this
Oh
ball
my
guy
God,
did.
Stop it.
You would have pulled it right out.
So I had a question for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if so. I'm not as familiar with the Super Mario Brothers games.
Oh boy.
I know.
There's
but
no balls.
Does he roll as a ball? Like,
No.
does he? Okay.
No.
That was what I was going to
No,
ask.
I don't know where that comes from.
Okay.
I said the Metroid thing before, but
Yeah, I mean
that's all I
that.
can think of.
Yeah, I mean that works too. But okay. I was just curious as like they're like, we can't just call him Gomu Mari. We gotta call him Gomu Mari. Oh, maybe because Mari is like a girl's name.
He's a rubber ball.
I think it's a girl's name
And
too.
no
so.
diamond this time. Club.
I know, and I went back and I looked. Fisheye's other lemur, the only other lemur, the tightrope walking dude, also had a club.
Interesting.
Or
So they're suits.
I think. But both, this is a thing that doesn't make sense to me. Both Tiger and Hawk have red diamonds.
Okay.
I don't understand what's trying to be communicated
Well,
here.
we haven't seen all the villains yet.
Yeah,
have we?
I know,
So-
but okay. All right. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll report back later.
Diamonds are a boy's best friend.
I guess so.
A boy with a lot of makeup and jewelry on.
Oh my god. All right, so now we're up to our rating. When Gomu Mario first appears out of the floor, he's a sea lion balancing a ball at its nose.
Gummer Mario.
I know.
Or sorry. It's me, Gummer Mario.
Oh no.
I'm so cool.
No, he's not.
Sorry.
He's not. And he claps when Fisheye tells him to get rid of the Sailor Moon and the Sailor Chibi Moon. So it seemed like it was like, a trick for the seal, right? That's what I was thinking. And it, later revealed to just be the ball.
He's just a ball.
He's just a ball.
He's just an innocent ball.
Yeah, why would you want to hurt a little ball?
He's gonna come out of her shadow and he's just a ball.
I know.
He needs he needs.
It's a front.
Look, a rocket needs a launch pad, right? So the seal comes out and gets the ball. Something. I don't know. Anyway, starts it off.
Yes. And I like that he apparently his cousin is Puko. I like that.
Well, it's weird that
good.
they in a show where basically things happen and they never ever really refer to
Call anything
things that
back.
happened before. Rarely do they do that. Like specifically, this guy's like, yeah, we know we did a rubber ball already. That's really what it is. They're just going, look, man, it's tough to come up with monsters at a circus theme. That's another ball.
And to make that more interesting, she was my cousin.
What? Yeah, right. We meant to do that.
Yeah.
What if there's a lion tamer and he's got a whip and everything, and then he has the power to make you be the lion. So now he's got Usagi jumping through hoops of fire. She's like, whoa. He's like, oh, don't miss. Oh, you're gonna get burned, right?
Oh, that would be
Something like
intense.
that.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
Look, get on your time phone and call me, Toei, because I got a lot of good ideas.
Get cow on the horn.
Time horn.
The time horn. Yeah, and then Usagi catches him, and it's really awkward, but it's really great. I like that Gomu Mario hears Tuxedo Mask music before he has any idea where he is. And,
Sometimes, and I didn't, I don't want to belabor things. I think I stopped because I didn't want to hate all the names that did all the bad episodes this season. But I didn't look up who did this one, but it's probably somebody who's done one that entertained us before. Mm-hmm. They clearly approached this and went, there's a lot of stuff that we do all the time. Let's do some different stuff.
Yeah,
And
right.
so I don't know. It kind of seems like these characters know they're in a TV show, but guy's music starts playing.
I
and that
know.
guy's like, oh no, where is he? Where is this guy? And then boop, the rose just comes down and pops him. And so it's like, it's a little treat for us, for the audience.
It is a treat. His humanoid form is really terrifying also. So I'm going to give him 4 out of 5 dark stars.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad, but not as good as the 5 out of 5 that I'm going to give him. This guy's got everything you want. He's got personality. He's got a weird gimmick with twists and reveals. He's got gumption. He is, maybe he gets docked on effectiveness, but honestly, if, Tuxedo Mask didn't show up a few seconds after his song started playing, maybe he had to like jimmy the window or something to get in. Who knows what would have happened? He had them pressed like cuttlefish.
Yeah.
And it's weird, and I know I've exposed them clearly copying themselves, but they were like cool about it, and they tried to make it like a mythology gag and connect it back to what was already going on. And so just way different than like, oh, this guy swallows swords. Oh, he's, or just whatever the next clown bit is. And so I got to give it to him on this one. You have to encourage them. They've found it once more. The spirit of lemure. This feeling. I can design when I feel this feeling.
I know.
So I'm going to give it 5.
All right, awesome. Take a bow, or our rating on how our villains left the stage of life. We see him rolling the humanoid beach ball man, and he says, "Stage out, man." But he seems kind of excited about being killed. I was really confused. Like, he was like really excited about the stage out man. And that just confused me. So I'm gonna give it a 2. I don't know what to make of it.
I do. I'm going to give it a 5. We talk about how it's the same thing.
You're right.
All the time. It's literally just a still image. And this is something that is fully animated. And it's not, as far as I can remember, anything they could have pulled from another plate. They had to redraw a spinning guy just for this at a totally new angle. He's got a twist on, stage out man. I don't know. Maybe he's ready. Maybe he's going to go see Puko. He's ready to find out what's on the other side.
Aww.
But he is, and he goes down fighting. He's not just terrified, because we know that the spin is his attack. So he's ready to just get this done. And Chibi gets the, they both together get the attack in. Just to who knows what would have happened? He would have hit him again.
Yeah.
Or maybe they would have caught him. But the point is, he's going back in. He's got gumption. He's got what it takes. He's fierce. And so I'm giving him 5.
Oh, nice. Now we're up to our rating. I don't like that when Chibi is drawing the wedding dress, Pegasus is all like, "Oh, who do you think will be standing next to you when you're wearing your wedding gown?" Blah, blah,
we
blah.
don't even talk about that.
That was so creepy. That was just, I threw up on the inside of my mouth.
It is a strange.
It's very strange.
And what I think, we haven't done what I think is going to happen in a while. We'll do that in a future episode.
Okay.
But clearly we are meant to see that Pegasus, despite the fact that he is an alien with 4 hooves and a horn and wings, that he is, he's catching feelings for Chibi, or he is examining in his heart his relationship and connection to her. Mm-hmm. I understand that's what's happening, and so it's just like, oh boy, you sure like that wedding dress? Do you like that wedding dress more than a friend? It's like, come on, Pegasus.
I know.
Don't simp like this. Just come right out with it.
Jeez.
You freaking weirdo.
I know.
Now, I don't know why that's happening, but I do know it's happening.
Well, I understand that that's what's happening. I'm not a fan of it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either, but I also don't like, and I've already made my point about status quo, and so, I like the fact that Chibi, as a 6 or 7-year-old child, just thinks the dress is pretty. She hasn't thought about
right.
the person standing next to her.
I liked that distinction too.
Right.
That was good.
The whole point of this storyline appears to be the sort of loss of innocence for her to realize that she needs a man or that somebody's going to be next to her, and it's going to be this guy.
Yeah, you're making me like it even less.
Let's spread our disgust out over the bread that is the rest of this season. We don't have to eat it all now.
God, I know. I feel like I was not a fan of Fisheye kind of letting being Yoshiki's muse go to their heads. I like how Yoshiki's assistant butts in and says that they want designs by Yoshiki, not Fisheye. I like how Mamo offers to buy Usagi a Yoshiki dress so they can leave and get out of the retailer assistant's hair. And I love how excited she is when he gets her the dress. I also liked her interactions with Yoshiki. That was fun. And I liked that he inspired her. I thought it was really great that she inspired him to design again. Yeah. And I like that one of Yoshiki's designs at the end looks like a Sailor Moon's costume. So I'm going to give this 3 out of 5 roses.
Nice. 5 out of 5. Mm-hmm. For all the reasons I've already spoken about, I don't know if it's because when you're dying in the desert of thirst, you don't care what kind of water it is, as long as it's water. Flat or sparkling, Evian or Perrier. I'll take a Dasani at this point. And the fact that we get a interesting guest character, a great outing, and honestly, a singular outing for a character who is very progressive for the cartoon and for the time, and is interesting, and I like it when she acts like a bitch. I think it's great. And having Usagi not even be in it all that much, but be pivotal and yet be wholly Usagi and have a world-class lemur at the end. I just don't. It's firing on literally all cylinders. Mm-hmm. I haven't done a lot of 555s. This is a 555. I give it 5 roses.
Nice. I love it.
I mean, this is it.
555.
I know what I'm talking about. This is a high point.
Yeah.
If it's all downhill from here, then we're in a lot of trouble. But yeah, had a great time.
Nice. So my English title is Design Intervention.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, it seems like you're auditioning for Cloverway.
I know.
But that's okay. We're
still
trying to range it in a little bit.
I know.
I'm having the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we get these episodes and there's a lot going on, it's hard to, and especially like when they pull the pun rug out from under me.
What do?
They pull the pug out from under me. Why am I sitting on this pug? It makes it hard to land something because clothes is out. Can't do that. So you have to cast around a little bit. And so you come up with something like Thank Heaven for Little Gills, which doesn't even make any sense.
Oh my
but it's
God.
It's kind of combining a couple different things together. And I thought, when will I ever get to use it again?
Never.
But then I started thinking about like so is Pegasus the Marie Chevalier in this situation? Thank heaven for little girls.
Oh my God, no!
They get bigger every day.
No,
but not fast enough.
Stop.
So we didn't want to do that. And I was thinking more about like, let's not fall back on alliteration, but like kind of like fast fashion fascism.
Ooh,
say that.
Interesting.
Fast. But ultimately, you got to boil it down, and simple is always best, and that's why I want to go with my title, Gender Blender.
Gender Blender. Next week is the end of the month, so that means it's shore leave. So we're going to be kicking back with some Mai Tais and...
Do you know what a Mai Tai is? You ever had a Mai Tai? It's like your go-to.
I don't know.
That's your go-to drink.
It's fun to say.
I don't know if you've ever had a Mai Tai before.
I don't know. I have either.
Like a daiquiri or something.
A daiquiri, yeah. Okay.
Daquiri Dangerous.
They're dangerous?
Well, Daquiri Dangerous is the name. That's my drag queen name. But like
It's a good name.
They also, because you like an icy. Everybody likes an icy, right?
Yes.
I like that places are. Oh, here he goes. I like that more and more places have ices now. You go to Burger King, they got an icy machine. Why the hell not?
Yep.
I feel like icy machines and slurry machines are showing up back in the self-serve areas in gas stations and rest stops and things like that. And so everybody the movie theater, you can get one. So I always get one when I can. And a daiquiri is basically just like a slushie that'll mess you up, right? Mm-hmm. And so whenever you go to any kind of coastal, or resort town, there's always going to be some place that's like, we've got 31 different flavors and then you serve yourself, and those places, you ever notice those places always have like a couple different signs in the window that say, no, really, you have to have shoes on when you come in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a reason
that's
for that.
How you know it's like, get your wallet out because you're leaving it here.
Yeah.
But anyway, try that instead of the, it's always a Mai Tai.
All right, yeah. I mean, look, I've been to New Orleans. I had plenty of hurricanes.
How do you feel about rum? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be doing that. You know what I like?
What?
I guess I probably would like a Mai Tai, but I like reviews.
I like reviews too.
I like them wherever I could get them, but for me, the daiquiri of reviews is a review on iTunes. Look, we see the numbers, okay? We know we've got, we're not bragging, we got thousands of downloads. We know that people are out there.
Yeah.
We love that they listen to the show. But if you have the opportunity and you haven't left us a review on iTunes yet, why not do that? Mm-hmm. I don't want to see, there's been some heroes who aren't even iTunes users who have gone there and left a review. And we've read it on the air.
Yes, we have.
I'm not asking you to do that. You don't have to jump on that grenade. You don't have to put that turtleneck on.
Oh my God.
But if you have the opportunity, just write one up, And even if it's not on iTunes, let us know about it. If there's some other platform that's got reviews, you're putting it in there. You can always come onto the Discord. We've got a link in the show notes and say, hey, we left your review. Awesome. We'll read it on the air. We always appreciate it. Getting the word out there. I also wanted to mention before we leave that we do have a Patreon. We talk about it a lot, so we won't belabor it, but it's at patreon.com/Sailor Noob. And we've got other podcasts there. I think it's important that I mention that we are essentially at the end of our coverage of the live action Sailor Moon show. And it's been a wonderful wild ride. And we're about to talk about really the cream. Like this is, I don't know. We started at the bottom where the water is. And then they get to the whey, and now we're at the cream.
Oh, okay, yeah,
we're watching for our next episode, Kurari Sailor Live, the live event featuring the live-action Sailor Soldiers and the Shiteno in front of a bunch of screaming kids, and that's going to be fantastic. So that'll be the last episode of that. We're moving on to something after. So if you want to catch the last episode, and of course, all the episodes will still be there on the Patreon. You can do that by going to patreon.com/Sailor Noob.
Well, that's our show for this week, and the Name of the Moon will be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
More like Pout Fit.